to just make irrational decisions. And also when you and I've seen it happen before. I've seen people that are doing really well and working together really friendly, and then maybe a little money comes in the equation and a little fame comes in the equation, and then suddenly everything goes haywire. And that's to be expected because money and fame are both drugs. They both affect your brain in the same region as cocaine. So people can be doped out, not just on chemical drugs, but they can literally be doped up on fame, doped up on ego, doped up on money. And so effectively what happened with 3 6 Mafia is that the group fell apart and they stopped making money because of all these side effects of becoming famous. And I've just seen it happen. I've seen even I've even seen people become internet famous and watch their personalities just shift overnight because they've never had that kind of attention before. Maybe it's a guy who's never had a bunch of women, he's never had a bunch of women chasing him down the street, or a woman who has never had that much attention before, or whatever, right? So ultimately, with 3 6 Mafia, the group fell apart. Now, here's the thing. If 3 6 Mafia had been able to get along, let's say they had a therapist come in and work with them as a group, and they were able to overcome their differences and their misunderstandings and their issues, and at least get on stage together and perform, that group could probably be making 10, $20 million a year. Do you understand? A lot of times when you have groups that are able to generate revenue together, if you can't keep the group together, you're going to lose that revenue. So one good investing strategy is to invest resources to maintain group unity, because that I mean that's a straight out financial decision. Like, okay, we're gonna pay this therapist to come in here and talk to us. Me and my family members, I got together with my brothers on this business, and in order for us to minimize the probabilities that there's any problems, we're going to engage in some sort of process to have a dispute resolution scenario, right? Like, we're going to lay it out. Maybe we're all going to agree in the contract. This is how we're going to manage disputes. And then also we're going to bring in a therapist to make sure everybody's heard, to make sure that we become masters of conflict resolution. See, this is something I'm sticking with this 100%. I really think that the Black community needs to focus much more on conflict resolution. Kids get killed because they can't resolve conflicts. Businesses die because people can't resolve conflicts. This is a multi-trillion-dollar decision. Trillions of dollars in the Black community gets lost every generation because people start fighting and they don't know how to come back from that. Egos get bruised, feelings get hurt. Why? Well, because you're heavily traumatized. Traumatized people they engage in a lot of what are referred to as trauma responses to conflict. So you have a conflict and you just want to go off or you want to walk away, right? You either are cutting people off, and you say this when I go into 2024, I'm cutting off all drama. I'm cutting off all people. Right? Look at how many posts you see online like that. I would just consciously think about that. Think about how many posts you see about people that talk about how many people they're going to cut off. Right? And, yeah, I ain't got time for no drama. I'm good. So what happens is that a traumatized person, I find, has a hard time being in a space where there is conflict and disagreement. They either will escalate or they will walk away, one or the other. And I found that when I look at people that are really successful, when I look at, for example, when I see a movie that gets made and it's got like thousands of people working on this movie, there's conflict everywhere. But people are like, we got to figure this out, or this movie won't get made. We got to stick together. We have to keep on coming back to each other to get to the finish line together. Because if we don't maintain the group, then we're done. We're all gonna struggle. So what I'm saying to you is that this is one of the secret keys that I've actually, it took me a long time to figure that out. I didn't even figure all that out till I was almost 50. I've had my PhD for over 20 years, and I was pretty damn smart when I got it, when I finished my doctoral work. But man, oh my goodness, when I sat and talked to therapists and looked at the best techniques for therapy, I started first. I mean, everything I might teach you comes from stuff I've already tried to teach myself. I had to confront myself and say, okay, boy, so maybe that wasn't the best way to handle it. Maybe fighting wasn't the best response. Maybe walking away wasn't the best response. If something's worth it, you are going to have to fight in a different way. So I began to dig into, like, okay, what are the best techniques for conflict resolution so you don't have to burn the whole building down in order to win a fight, and you don't have to burn the building down in order to avoid a fight. Do you understand? So anyway, let me share this again. So I can tell you this is real. It has real economic consequences. Think about how many family businesses. Imagine to yourself, to really internalize this. I want you to imagine, if you can, a scenario where you could have done something great with somebody but it didn't work out because you got into a conflict and you didn't know how to come back from that. Or I want you to imagine people that you have disagreements with, that you're not good with, where you say, gosh, if we were able to get on the same page, we could do amazing things together. I want you to just imagine that so you can, and then that'll help you understand the opportunity costs. You can understand the loss. Losses show up in different forms. There is a what they call the realized loss, where you lose real money. There is the paper loss, where something is reduced in value, and then there's the big loss, which is the opportunity cost. That's the loss you have of what would have been, what could have been, what you could have had if you had been on your game, if you had made the right decision, but you missed all that because you maybe were short-sighted, or you were too emotional, or whatever. So these skills are important for anybody that wants to be a wealth builder. This is important part of your consciousness. Let's keep going. All right. Choose productive circles. I think that starting by consciously selecting people to be around who are going to help you become more the person you want to be. I think that's a no-brainer, and that's something I encourage you to do. Next slide. Okay, so let's start with number 6. I'm going to mention commandment number 6, and then I'm going to introduce you to it, and then we're going to dig into it tomorrow. The commandment number 6 in the 10 commandments of Black economic power is you keep it in the family. Keep it all in the family whenever possible. When you get opportunities, when you get money, when you get an extra squeeze of a couple dollars, and you're thinking about where to spend that money, you want to keep it as close to you as possible, because you keep that wealth within your ecosystem. That's what Jewish people do. That's what smart Asian people do. That's what smart communities do. Okay. So remember, wealth grows mathematically the same way flowers grow. That basically, if you look at the way compound interest grows, it's similar to biology. Most of the financial equations that we worked with back in when I was on the faculty of Syracuse, all those equations are actually taken from biology. So you can actually mathematically design how money grows the same way you would how a flower grows, how a child grows, etc. So if you want to understand how money grows, I want you to think about how your child grows. The way how do kids grow? We feed them every day, and time passes, and next thing you know, that little baby is an 18-year-old that's getting on your nerves. So flowers that get watered and fed are the ones that grow. Those that don't get watered die. So a lot of our economic flowers don't get watered because we take all the water, all the liquidity, all the money that they call money liquidity. We take all that liquidity and we give it away. We take that money, and as quick as possible, we run it out of our neighborhood, hand it to somebody else. So I want you to think about this. Imagine that if your wealth is a pack of flowers in your garden, and imagine if every time you got water, you ran and you put that water in your neighbor's garden. Like, and think, imagine that. Imagine if every time you got a couple, you got a little water, you run to your neighbor's garden and water his flowers, and make sure his flowers are good. And the neighbor is Mr. White Man, right? So you're going to Mr. White Man's garden and you're watering his stuff, but you're not watering your own. Well, I mean, think about this. Why would you be surprised if if his garden is beautiful and blossoming, and your garden is all dried up and depleted and falling apart? It clumpy and dirty, nasty, looking like a desert. Well, that shouldn't. So none of that should surprise you. And this is what I see economically when I look at the Black community. I see an economic garden that does not get watered. I see a space where every time we get a nickel, every time we get a dollar, we run it off to go give it to somebody else. That's what we do. We take that money, and I want you to just consciously observe it. And again, I'm not here to criticize you. I'm not here to make you feel bad about what you do. These are deeply ingrained habits that have been thrust into us for hundreds of years. So it's hard. It's going to be hard to break this. It's really going to be hard, but you got to break it if you want your wealth to grow. Look at how quickly we will. I mean, if they paid us reparations right now, Brother Nuri Muhammad said it so well, and I agree with him. He said reparations would not be an economic boost to the Black community. It would be an economic boost for every mall in America. It would be an economic boost for Foot Locker. It would be an economic boost for the strip clubs, maybe. It would be an economic boost for for anybody that's selling Gucci and Prada and Louis and all this other stuff. It doesn't mean some people wouldn't do good things with their money, but a lot of people would not. A lot of people would literally take those horrible habits with this new money and just be more dramatic with horrible economic habits. And so really, at the end of the day, before that reparations check gets here, I think it's extremely important that we really sort of think about what it looks like to target your economic power. So keeping it in the family whenever possible is a principle that doesn't just say keep the money in the community. It really says keep it close to yourself. Remember, by serving your family, you're serving yourself. By serving your community, you're serving yourself. that you're part of an ecosystem. I don't want you to come in here thinking that you have to sacrifice and get nothing in return. This is not a self-sacrifice or kind of conversation. This is a situation where I want you to do what's best for you. I do. I really do. I want what's best for you, and I want you to pursue what's best for you. But I also need you to understand that you are part of an ecosystem. And when you're part of an ecosystem, what you learn is that in the right ecosystem, you do what's best for yourself by serving others. You do what's best for yourself by being loyal to the team. You're on a football team that's trying to win a Super Bowl, and you are not going to win a Super Bowl by playing in a selfish way. You win a Super Bowl by playing in a selfless way. You win a Super Bowl by sacrificing for the team. And it's a hard sacrifice. It's a risky sacrifice because sometimes we have a fear that the other team members are not on the same page. And if we don't see other team members sacrificing like us, then we end up feeling like, well, what the heck? Why am I sacrificing? Why am I giving the ball away and helping other people score when nobody's helping me score? I get that. I understand that. That lack of trust is what makes it difficult to build the economy in the Black community. There's a lack of trust, right? You feel like, well, what's the point in me doing the right thing if everybody else is doing the wrong thing? What's the point in me trying to invest in a hood that nobody else invests in, or invest in a family situation when my wife or my husband is tripping, and or my kids don't want to get on board? I get it. It sucks. It really sucks. I get furious about it all the time. It leads you to just literally have these existential crazy questions of like, why am I even doing this? I go through this all the time. I kid you not. I swear, I promise you. I listen to motivational speeches when I go to the gym every morning just to remind me to keep going. And the reason I keep going is number one, because I've learned a few things. Here are a few things I've learned. Number one, I don't have to change the whole world. I only have to change my little piece of it. Right? I don't have to worry about what Pookie's doing down the street. I don't have to worry about the Negro naysayer. I'm not worried about the person who doesn't understand. I'm really thinking about you. I come in here and I talk to you. I'm talking to you. I'm not talking to them. I don't have time for them. I'm not interested in them. The them, they're gonna get in line when they see how much power we have. I'm really talking to you. I'm literally operating within this ecosystem. That's the first thing. Number two, you have the ability to craft your own system. You have the ability to craft your own space. It starts with family, I think. I think family is critical in that. If you're the head of a household, that's a blessing. But then also, if you don't have family, that's okay too. You craft the friendship circle that you're in. You establish codes of conduct and expectations of behavior within that group. And you work together. And then when you have that solid group, when you have that solid circle, then you can safely share yourself with that circle. I have with our business, I have a small team of people that are solid as hell. And I meet with them 2 or 3 times a week, and I've been working with them for 5 or 6 years. And I will do anything for the people in my circle because we all feel safe with each other. We all know that no matter what kind of thunderstorm is happening outside, we are safe inside this space because we've proven it. We've established the code of conduct. We that's so that's all you need. That's all you need. And you don't need a lot of people to be on board like that. Just sometimes it might even be just one other person. You can build a multi-million-dollar empire with one other person. You do know that, right? And so what I would say to you is really understand that at the end of the day, the key idea here is that when you pick that circle, when you pick that economic family, the economic family, that's a term that we use in the book that I hadn't seen anywhere else. But when you develop that economic family, you pour into that family and you pour into that family hard. And then also you pour into that family knowing that even when you pour into something, even if you know you're doing the right thing, the universe may not always reward you in the way that's appropriate. You pour into it, you have to show the love in a way where you know that even as careful as you might be, you might still get hurt. But you could still bet you can bounce back from that. That's what I had to learn. I said, I'm gonna just love to no end in the spaces where I feel safe. And sometimes I know even then I'm still going to get hurt, but it's okay. I've got a repair process. I can go heal and I'm still going to come back and I'm going to love just as diligently. Why? Well, because I am one of the economic lions in the community and so are you. I'm just, when you are the lion, when you are the leader, when you are the person that's willing to go ahead and take a couple of hits for the team, then you dive in, you go hard, and you just accept what comes with that because somebody has to do it. Somebody has to be the economic soldier. Somebody has to be the leader. Somebody has to help us get out of this stuff. And I respect you immensely because that's what you're doing. You're breaking the generational curses. You're leading your family. You're exposing them to new ideas. And I want you to come at it with a type of ferociousness where nobody's going to get you to back down ever. and it takes time to get to that point, but it's okay. I'll be there with you the entire time. And I can guarantee you though, that if you look at the success, if you look at any successful family dynasty, if you look at any successful business, if you look at any successful person, any successful situation, there's always one or two lions like that have that mindset, that are deeply committed to it, obsessed with it, that are able to help push through the gravitational pull of low expectations. Do you understand? You're like a rocket. That's what you are. When you launch a rocket into space, a rocket is interesting because a rocket's basically a controlled explosion. It's a lot of energy that's packed into this little thing. And if the energy isn't managed properly, the rocket will just explode. But the thing about a rocket also is that it takes a lot of energy to get past the gravitational pull of the Earth. That's the first thing. That's really hard to do. And then number two, the rocket has to be clear about where it's going. If the rocket's not clear and it's wobbly, it's going to just wobble and eventually fizzle out and die, or it's going to blow up, right? So to be that rocket, to break out of the gravitational pull of low expectations and the gravitational pull of all this mediocrity, the gravitational pull of all the BS that you're surrounded by, all the nonsense and all the ignorance that you were born into, all the chaos that you see around the community, you're going to have to be focused and you're going to have energy. So every day, so what I'm going to try to do for you with you is every single day I come in here, I'm going to come in here with focus and energy, and we're going to do this together because I believe, in fact, I don't believe, I know for a fact that is what's going to be required for us to succeed. And here's the thing, here's the part that's going to really bother you, I bet, is that there's no guarantee of success. We might do all this, give our absolute best shot, and still not get the prize, not win, not reach the goal. There's no guarantee you're going to reach the goal. But the thing is that if you don't try, you're guaranteed not to reach the goal. You know that if you don't try, you're guaranteed to get what you were getting before. So I'm willing to put it all on the line because I want to maximize our probability of succeeding. And that's what's required, in my opinion. So let's launch that rocket, put that fuel in the tank, and launch that sucker with all the energy we got. Make sure we're clear on exactly where we want to go, and rise up out of this nonsense. Because the interesting thing about life, in my opinion, is that I found that the world will move out of the way for the person who knows exactly who they are and where they're going. That's what I found. Because most people in life are not really leaders, they are sheep. There are so many sheep out here, and the sheep get led to slaughter. The sheep just follow other sheep. The sheep don't know what to do next. The sheep just follow instructions. I ain't here to be no damn sheep. And I don't think you're a sheep either, because that's why you're here. All right. So anyway, that's it. I'm done. I hope this was helpful to you. I hope that you are feeling smarter and better after this conversation. We will be back tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern, every single morning. If you want to get a notification, I can't send them out every day because text messages actually cost money to send out, but I'll send them out periodically. Just text the word morning to 87948. Text morning to 87948 if you haven't done it. Also, just as something you may want to feel free to take a look at, the cost of crypto, or the cost of Bitcoin especially, has gone way, way up. So I believe crypto is a wave of the future. I've told you all that I'm a big believer in Bitcoin and as well as Ethereum, and I'm investing consistently. In fact, my wife actually she bought $100 of Bitcoin 5 years ago, and it was like almost $1,000. And I was like, why'd you buy $100 worth? Like, why'd you buy $500 worth? But anyway, so I believe it's going to keep on going up. And so some of you may have an interest in teaching your kids about crypto. And I don't know if you guys know this, but we actually have a crypto certification for kids. So if you'd like to train your kids on crypto, here's a link. Putting the link in the chat. So there's a big discount, $100 off the program. I think the regular price is, I can't remember what the regular price was. I think it was maybe $199 or $299. Yeah, it's $197. So the discount price is $97 for you guys that are in here. And I'll also text this out to, if you text morning to 87948, I'll text the link out there as well. So you get it in your text in your phone if you want to take a look at the crypto program for kids. And also don't forget that tonight we are going to do our Powernomics training. That's 100% free. So I hope you'll join us. Just text the word greatness to 87948. Text greatness to 87948, and I'll send you the link for that too. All right, guys, have a good day. God